Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Monday to you. If there is such a thing, some people hate Mondays, some people love them. Every day is a Friday for me, so I really can't complain. Let's take a look here at SUI, double check a few things. We can see SUI pulling back, essentially in a situation here where we're starting to see that retracement. It's getting a little heavy, and we look at Bitcoin too, it's kind of right on the edge of potential disaster. I was really hoping for Bitcoin to come up a little bit higher so we could short that 58.5, 58, low 58K range essentially, but that may not happen, right? And if that is the case, other coins like this, the profitable coins, are going to continue to sell off. So we're going to look at some key levels here, maybe some DCA targets, and just potential invalidation areas too, because there's no doubt that this coin is very strong, still honoring its ascending trend line and effectively bullish, but we cannot just blindly be bullish on something because it's doing well. We got to be able to try to see the cracks in the glass, or whatever term you want to use to describe that. Before we get started though, hit the like button. Absolutely appreciate that. Thank you so much. Future reference to anyone who's doing that in every single video. You're awesome. You're a rock star. Absolutely appreciate that. We got to get this in front of more people instead of moon boys, right? Because they are the ones destroying the market and essentially convincing people to make bad decisions. While I'm not 100%, there's no doubt I'm fallible, right? But majority of what we do here is just identifying, specific areas of interest, and more importantly, not getting emotional about our trading, which is half the problem with majority of the market. So just keep that in mind. We look at things abstractly and make sure we understand both sides and try to make informed decisions. Having said that, SUI on the left-hand side here is the last 7 days of liquidation. If you're not familiar, these are just areas of liquidation, basically. Usually these are where stop losses are at, and or just areas that prices get stopped out. In other words, when you take a high leverage trade, you'll have a liquidation event close to your entry. That's essentially what we see here, with some high leverage longs at about 98 cents. Those could be next. And of course, 83 cents as well for that secondary area. Either way, the last 7 days doesn't tell us too much. I think the macro is probably more important here, whereas we do have more liquidation above the price action. In fact, this little area here, this $3 billion in liquidation, what do you know? A perfect wick up to 115 to kill all that liquidation. Like, I've done nothing to this chart here. This is exactly the same playout chart I had from a couple of days ago, and that perfect level right up there at 114, perfectly swept. It's manipulation 101, folks. That's exactly how the market works. Heavy concentration of liquidation will get swept eventually. So at this point here, that's essentially what happened. We got new areas of 120 to 123. I'm not proposing that's going to be the next area, but I am saying that that would be a good solid consideration for a take profit target if you're in a long position and there's confirming factors present. We're going to find that out, but simply put, more liquidation on the upside than the downside, unless you zoom way out and you look at this 84-cent range or lower. Me personally, we drop anywhere below the 90-cent range, I think we gotta be worried. Between here and then, I think 90 cents to $1 is probably a pretty good support range. I'll explain why here in a second. So let's look at the daily and work our way down. Actually, let's just start with a weekly. I like to do that to recap here and just kind of understand that we're still below a resistance range. We've seen 4, almost 5 candle wicks up to this 115. It hasn't broken yet. So closing above 115 would be super solid, specifically on the weekly and or the daily, honestly. But at this point here, that liquidation has been swept. We'll remove that. If we look at all moving averages, we're above both moving averages that are present. We can see we're over 50 on the RSI still, right? And stochastic swinging up with money flow index over 70. These are all extremely positive contributing factors. The likelihood of SUI going higher moving forward is greater. Again, the micro movements, it's hard to say specifically what will happen next. Bitcoin keeps pulling back. We might see a retracement. But the general consensus here is that as long as we're above this ascending trend line, we're in pretty good shape. Again, as you can kind of see, the ascending trend line is working concurrent with the 20-day SMA now. Okay, that's generally where we want it to be. That's positive. So being over the 20, it just gives us indication that we're more likely to go up than down. Keep in mind, we've got a hammered doji bullish engulfing candle right now forming on the daily. That could imply the price will pull back. If it does, my money is on this little area here, this fair value gap, this range here, where we have this previous resistance turn support at 96 cents. So as you can see, I have an alert. It's like 96.50, 97 cents. That's where I want to get in for long. Okay. Now, is that a guarantee it's going to happen? No. But if Bitcoin pulls back and continues down to that 56K range as a possible reality here, then we could very well see SUI hit that level. And again, you don't really want to jump blindly into a long at that level just because. However, we'd still be honoring the ascending trend line within the next 2 or 3 days if we close in that range. So if the price pulls back in the next couple of days to 96 cents, I'd probably be more apt to taking a long, regardless of the market, just based on the overall sense that we're honoring our trend line here. Okay, the trend line is probably the most important thing you could recognize initially as far as ascending trends are concerned. because that's where, you know, your momentum, you're establishing higher lows is still present. Okay, that hasn't broken yet, so we can presume it's going to continue. Moving forward, taking a look at the traditional indicators here, we can kind of see the stochastic is swinging down, generally unfavorable. MFI is topping out at 80. Generally, this is a sign in which you want to consider shorting. Again, I say the exact inverse here for 30 on the RSI and 20 on the money flow index when the price pivots and bounces. It may not be a super strong drop, but I think we're more likely to see further downside in the short term for SUI to possibly that $1 to 97-cent range. That being said, all that combined, we're still bullish in the overall trend here, so try not to get super concerned. However, we are rejecting out here at the 200-day SMA as well. Once again, the 200-day SMA is not a resistance level, more so a range, just kind of letting us know that we haven't fully broken bullish yet. 4-hour time frame, we want to recognize a couple things here. We zoom in, we're above 30 and 50 on the RSI, generally positive signs. Stochastic still pulling back, money flow index in decent shape, TSI in good shape, and MACD is diverging. So there's a lot of bearish signs here in the overall sense, but the only thing that really concerns me here, and this isn't like a crazy thing, is losing the 20-day SMA, okay? Again, we come down here to this lower level, fill that fair value gap, I think we're more likely to see a bounce from here. But once more, I think between now and then is a distinct probability we will see somewhere in the range of 97 to $1, that range here retested. Unless Bitcoin, for some reason, just takes off right now. Even if Bitcoin does take off, I think it's going to probably slow down in the 58.5 range, which again, I'm still looking for a short position there. If you're not familiar, I do have a section here that's newer, my trade alert section. I explain what I'm looking for in trades, and I'm kind of highlighting the fact that Bitcoin is looking pretty bearish. So make sure you tune into that if you're part of our Discord. It's also available in Telegram for any of our, Pioneer members or higher. So reference that. You have questions, feel free to reach out. Let's look at the hourly. Let's quickly recognize the Ichimoku cloud. We're now below the cloud. We haven't been below the cloud in quite some time. Okay, last time we broke below, we bounced off this 0.618 fib level, continued higher. That's a standard procedure. Now that we've established higher highs and higher lows, we have more propensity for the price action to pull back. However, we do take a look at this point of control and this ascending trend here. We can see there is a lot of control about 102, 103. Basically just implying a lot of people are buying that level. So if we lose that level, it would imply the price continues lower. Having said that, what we're looking at on the Ichimoku cloud is that the lagging span is free and clear, conversion lines below the baseline, and we're underneath the cloud. That's 3 out of 3 reasons to consider a short and not to open a long right now, okay? Now, I generally will always say this too, when the price action pulls back to this area that I want to try to get in, I'm not going to blindly jump in. Okay? I'm going to try to reevaluate at that time if necessary, okay? So the key takeaway here is that until we get to sub $1, we can presume the price will probably continue higher. However, with Bitcoin pulling back the way that it has, SUI looks like it's on the edge of disaster, and it's probably going to drop fairly hard here soon. Again, I would say, this 97 cent to $1 range. So I've got my alert set here at 97. I'll just adjust it to 98 so I can get notified if it gets into that range. Maybe we're taking along in that area. But for right now, best trade you can take is no trade. Okay, because we're in this funny transition where while we have confirming factors on the smaller time frames, letting us know the price more likely to pull back, I don't think Bitcoin's done doing what it's supposed to do first. And until that happens, you want to be cautious taking a short, especially with a coin that's super, super strong. Keep in mind though, this coin is also highly profitable and majority of the market is not. What I mean by that is it's a profitable coin, and most coins that are overextended like this one are pulling back harder than others that aren't. So that should be taken into consideration when you take a trade. Okay, so I do think right now in the short term, you're going to find more success trading to the downside than the upside here with this coin. But I wouldn't touch it just yet. It looks like it's moving with extreme volatility, and I don't like trading coins like this until they bottom out. And yes, I had some bunny ears on that one because we don't know where the bottom is. But hypothetically, for this moment, to me, 97 cents to $1 seems like an appropriate consideration for a long, especially if it happens the next couple of days where we retest that ascending trend and honor that 20-day SMA on the daily. Okay, so those are just things I like to look for. Again, guarantee? No, just a larger statistical probability of XYZ based on today's conditions. Okay, that's kind of where we're at. So we'll go ahead and reevaluate this again tomorrow, see where we're at, but I'm looking for an entry in the 97 cents to $1 range. Hope that makes sense. Do yourself a favor too. I always recommend 2 separate portfolios for day trading and swing trading. BTCC is our secondary, no KYC, no VPN required exchange. Be sure to check them out. Link down below. They're awesome. Done very well for our community. Obviously, Bitunix is my favorite all time, but of course, we want to have secondary options because you know how KYC and VPN requirements go. They typically change over the years, right? Either way, thanks again so much for watching. See you in the next one. Take care.